Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's Room of Choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Welcome to the Black Tax. There's an African proverb that says, "Don't let what you can't do keep you from doing what you can do." I am a guy who is a risk taker. Sometimes it's worth the risk and it turns out well. Other times it becomes disastrous. But because I have a foundation built around my education and my experience, I always can find a way to fix what the problem is, was, or potentially could become. When SiriusXM was merging, an opportunity presented itself that my company could have an opportunity to acquire one of the channels or several of the channels that were being given to the quote unquote minorities so that they would have an equal playing field in being a part of satellite radio. The FCC put out a white paper asking for comments, what the individual companies would do if given these channels, and how they would open doors for voices that were unheard, or or providing a voice for the voiceless in this new medium of satellite radio. My first meeting with the FCC was with an individual who was trying to become a recognized minority business so that they could take full advantage of this, but because they were Middle Eastern and they are not a protected class, he could not do this alone. So the attorney who he had hired, who knew me, asked me if I would come on board, and then we could work out the details because she was familiar with the things that I was trying to promote and do with my business, iClick2Media. Subsequently, he dropped out. And so all of the responsibility fell back on me. Now, I'm clear with intellectual property, copyrights, trademarks, patents. I understand what will fly, what can't fly. Sometimes it gets a little gray, but I can manage in terms of getting around that. I am unfamiliar with FCC law, but it can't be that much different, I thought, from any other type of law. You know how to research, you know how to read the law, you understand it from a perspective that most laymen don't. So you have footing, but you may not have a solid footing. So we have our first meeting and we're going through the process of what was written in the white paper that I had to submit. And there were some mistakes that were made. The attorney who was involved in this, a black woman, said to me, "We have a problem with our very first meeting at the FCC." And I was like, "What's the problem?" She says, "We were supposed to meet with 2 people, but now we're meeting with the whole team. And I'm not prepared for that." I said, "Don't worry about it. I got it. Let's just ride it out and we'll go from there." So we walk into the meeting and it is 35 people sitting in this conference room. She introduces herself. She introduces me. I give a chuckle. "Hey, how's everybody doing?" So I'm going to attack this from different perspectives. I'm going to keep it easy and light, and then we can go back and forth through questions and figure out if I can answer all your questions or not. So there was something that popped up with one of the people in the meeting about something that was submitted. And I was like, "I'm sorry, that's my fault. Though I am trained as a lawyer, I'm unfamiliar with the FCC guidelines. And so that I will, now that I understand process, that mistake won't happen again." And the woman's like, "Oh, okay, that's fine. That makes sense because you're just retaining counsel. So I get that you were trying to meet the deadline." Absolutely. You got to fake it till you make it, and make it. Once you make it, you got to fix it. And though I'm not faking it, I'm dancing around it. So we go through the meeting. There's a question about the pricing that I designed. And one of the white people was like, "Well, how is it possible that if people can't afford to pay for the subscription, how do they pay for cell phones? And I was like, I think you're misunderstanding the current market and world we live in. People have retired their home phones because it's cost effective to have a mobile device. It is easier to have a mobile device where people can always reach you versus what it used to be when you had to get home to check your messages or call your machine at home to check your messages. So by using smartphones, the early ages of it, and tying SiriusXM to the smartphone, you afford individuals who may not be able to have SiriusXM full subscriptions, but an a la carte type situation. So we got through that meeting. Everything was great. We leave, we go to lunch. The lawyer's like, why would you cover for me? And I said, because at no point, at no time, can you ever look like you don't know what you're doing in that space when you are an FCC. I can take the L. I'm an IP guy. You can never do that. So when I have to step in and cover you, I will. So we go back and forth, then meeting after meeting, meeting after meeting. I'm living in Los Angeles, so I'm having to fly to DC for these meetings. And on this one particular time I have to come in, my luggage gets lost. So I have this meeting. I don't have a suit. I'm in a hoodie, sweats, with a backpack. I go to the meeting and the lawyer, she's like, no, if you leave now, you can go to Brooks Brothers and pick up a suit, and then you can wear the suit. And when you're finished with the meeting, take it back. I said, that's not going to work because the suit's not going to fit. It's going to look like I just bought the suit. I can handle this. So we go into another meeting and it's the full staff again, and everybody's dressed in their business attire. And I walk in with this hoodie on and these sweats and a backpack. And I was like, hey guys, excuse my appearance. But I figured coming to the meeting this way would probably be much more correct than walking here naked, since my luggage got lost on my flight from LA here. And everybody chuckles like, yeah, I think we can deal with that. See, like minds understand. No one wants to see me naked. Well, there are a few people, but not this group of people. And everybody chuckled and everybody was calm. And then all the questions started coming at me based on the white paper that I had to write. So questions are being answered. Everything is great. We're moving forward. Everything is rocking and rolling. We are now maybe 9 months into this process. And so one of the hierarchies at the FCC calls me and says, hey, I'm going to give you a heads up. My suggestion is the last 5 people standing, those 5 companies, you need to create a consortium with them, present it back to us, and then we will move forward with you in terms of dividing up these 20 channels. No problem. I'll get them all on the phone. We get on a conference call and everybody's like, well, how come they get 2 and why can't we only get 1? And what's the process? And I was like, I think you all are missing the point here. They are allowing the last 5 of us, the group here. There was 2 Hispanics, 2 Asian companies, and me, the black company. And they're allowing us to take control of these 5 channels. So I said, what I'll do is the Hispanic companies, you each can have one channel. So everybody got 2 channels, but that wasn't enough. So we go back to the conversation. I ended up only wanting to take one of the commercial channels, and the other channels were then divided amongst the other individuals, and that seemed to make everybody happy. Proposal was fine. We're ready to rock and roll. And then the financial crisis happens. Now, because the channels were not supposed to go back to SiriusXM, somehow, some way, some backdoor bullshit with Congress and the Senate allowed this thing to happen. So SiriusXM chose who they wanted to have the channel versus what the agreement was that allowed the merger to begin. We were supposed to have a congressional hearing. The hearing didn't happen because the world was falling apart because of the financial crisis. At no point, at no time do I regret not taking the risk to do this. I have the ability to expand my brain, my mind, my thoughts. I am creative. I am a hell of a problem solver, and I can find solutions, even to my own problems when they seem to be mounting every day. Some days I got to take a few steps back, think about it, and then, we'll do it this way. I think I've spent maybe $5,000 over the course of 2 years chasing these channels. But the other individuals had spent easily $200,000, $300,000 in legal fees. So that was a blessing for me. I also realized that experience gave me a new set of skill sets that I hadn't tapped into. And because of that, I now understand another area of law that I didn't understand. And though it never happened, and there were all the doubting Thomases that it wasn't going to happen, and all the people who were up against me about, this is not going to happen for you. You think you can do it. It's not going to happen. I know it's not going to happen. And when it didn't happen, the same namesakers was like, see, I told you it wasn't going to happen. You wasted your time and your money. And all I could do is look at them and say, but I tried, gave it my best effort. Doesn't mean I failed. It just means there were outside circumstances that controlled something beyond my control. I want you to think about risk, a challenge, something you want, something you truly believe in. And in your hearts of hearts, you know it can work. You know it could become something magnificent, regardless of what anybody says. Something in your core principles tells you, I can make this work. I can get this done. That's how I live my life. There is no challenge too big. There's no challenge too small. If I think I can do it, I can do it. When I started this podcast, I didn't want to do this by myself. But the universe said, no, you have to do it by yourself. I wanted it to be kind of an interview situation where I sat with somebody and I told my story, and then this individual who was a reporter would ask questions and I would respond back to the questions and we could have this kind of dialogue. But she didn't see the vision of the possibility of what this could become. I still do. So that's why I am doing it by myself. And I am 6 months into this and still have 6 months to go with stories and experiences and joys and happiness. Some days I don't want to do it. And when I don't want to do it, I don't do it. But I'm also 8 weeks ahead, so I could take a step back and chill and laugh and giggle, refocus my brain and get back to it. We go through career changes all the time. What we thought was going to work doesn't always work. What we think can work may work. I'm in a new phase of my life, a new phase of my career. I'm focusing on being a full-time creative. But the hybrid lawyer that I am, that still has to work because that's how the bills get paid. But my creativity is my new driving point. Creating the podcast, films, documentary I'm working on, something that changes the way I see the world. Take the risk if you believe in you. Take the chance that it may work out. And if it doesn't, there's a lesson learned for you to build on and still try to make it happen. Never be afraid of taking a shot at something that may not ever happen, but at least you'll never live with the would've, could'ves, and should'ves of not taking the shot. Stay woke. We out.
The world is buzzing with AI tools, but instead of making things easier, they've made things overwhelming. There's a better way. Meet Superhuman, the AI productivity suite that gives you superpowers so you can outsmart the work chaos. With Grammarly, Mail, and Coda working together, you get proactive help across your workflow, no matter how you work. Experience AI that meets you right where you are. Unleash your superhuman potential today. Learn more at superhuman.com/podcast. That's superhuman.com/podcast.